If you are going through a difficult season right now, like maybe your circumstances don't look like anything of what God promised you, or maybe you're going through a season of heartbreak, or maybe you're going through a season of grief, of losing a loved one, or maybe you're going through a season of financial difficulties, I hope that this inspires you, because I was just praying to God and I wrote something yesterday. I was writing a devotional, and as I was praying, I was remembering the devotional that I wrote, and my own words spoke to me, and I hope that this speaks to you also. So 2 Corinthians 12:9, this is when Paul is writing to the Corinthian Christians, and he was telling them how he had a thorn in his flesh, and it was a messenger that Satan sent to torment him so that Paul wouldn't exalt himself, boasting about the revelations of what the Lord was showing him. And he pleaded to God 3 times to take this thorn away, to take this thorn out of him, because it was so painful. He was grieving. He was not wanting this thorn to be inside of him because it was just making him feel weak. It was making him feel defeated. And he pleaded to God 3 times, begging God to take the thorn out of him, to take the thorn away. And you know what God replied? God said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in your weakness." Instead of taking the thorn out of Paul, which he's God, he could have easily taken the thorn away. But when Paul realized, okay, God, I pleaded to him, the first time he didn't answer, the second time nothing happened, and then by the 3rd time, when God still didn't take the thorn out of Paul realized there must be some deeper meaning, there must be some lesson here, there must be a reason, God, why you're allowing this thorn to still be inside of me. And God was saying, that thorn, I'm not taking it away from you because I'm going to strengthen you through it. Instead of taking the pain away, I'm going to strengthen the load. I'm going to strengthen your shoulder of where the thorn is so that you will be able to bear it, so that you will be able to carry it, because my grace is sufficient for you. And how good is that? Because that really just ministered to me, because when we're going through situations and we're going through pain and we're going through seasons in our life where it's difficult, and let me be the first to say that the season that I'm walking through right now is very difficult. Like, if I relied on what my circumstances look like on the outside, I feel defeated. Let's just be honest. I feel defeated right now. And I'm still standing on the promises that God gave me. I'm still trusting God that he's going to get me through this season, because I remember and look back of all the other times where God brought me out of, and he's delivered me every single time and walked me through each season that was difficult when I had nothing. And he's doing the same thing again, and he's still stretching my faith, because he knows that my best work is produced through pain. When is the best music produced? Through pain. When are the best books written? Through pain. Like, people's testimonies. This is when God really is able to teach us what we need to learn, so that we can minister to others, so that way we can use our experiences as a testimony to God's goodness, to God's faithfulness. And sometimes we just want God to take the pain away. We want God to take the heartbreak away. We want God to take our feelings away. We want God to take the pain of losing a loved one. We want God to take our pain away. We want God to fix our finances. We want God to give us the friends that we've been praying for. We want God to do all of these things instead of us walking through the pain. And that's exactly what Paul was trying to do, and ask God to take away the pain. And God was like, my grace is sufficient for you. That's all you need, is my grace, because I'm going to help you be strengthened by what you're facing right now, so that way you can boast about your weaknesses, because it doesn't matter if you can't walk through it, but with me you can walk through anything, and I'm going to strengthen you so that you can walk through it. And then Paul said, for when I am weak, then I am strong. Then he started boasting in his weaknesses, because he was realizing that that thorn that God placed in him was for a reason and only for a season, but that Paul was going to learn something through that God's strength and God's grace is sufficient enough for us. So I don't know who I'm speaking to, but I know that this ministered to me. Whatever season that you're walking through, whatever difficulty, whatever grief, whatever pain, whatever heartbreak that you're going through, the reason why God's not taking the pain away, not taking the thorn out of you, is because he's going to strengthen you through it. He's going to make you realize, wow, there was no other way that I could have walked through that season unless it was God. And that shows you God's power. God's power is shown through our weaknesses. It's shown through our pain. It's shown through our suffering, because through that, we are truly able to see the hand of God. We are truly able to see God's goodness and God's faithfulness. And so I just hope that this lifts you up. I hope that this encourages you. Don't focus on your circumstances. Fix your eyes on Jesus and let him minister to you. Let him encourage you with this verse, 2 Corinthians 12:9. For my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in your weakness.